Welcome to Module 5. In this module, we will help you put all the inner work together and help you take it out there to the world on progress. We'll help you create and curate a control center for your progress on one spreadsheet with a few tabs, the Hunt dashboard. This will help you build and maintain your network, keep track of approaches you make to your champions, connectors, and potential hirers, and hold you to account on your hustle. First, I do encourage you to boot up Excel, Numbers, Google Sheets, or equivalent. In other leadership work, I tend to recommend you create your form in your preferred package, working with how your brain thinks. For example, do you create most naturally in slides, document, narrative, or spreadsheet? But for the Hunt, I'm firmly nudging you to create a dashboard in a spreadsheet for reasons that hopefully become obvious as we go. So, feel free to open up the template in Google Sheets and duplicate it or export it to your provider of choice, be it Microsoft, Mac, Google Suite, Airtable, and many more. Also, feel free to create your own from scratch or modify your existing one if you have one. Next, choose an inspiring name for this file. I want you to want to open this file extremely regularly. So maybe upgrade the name from Jobs to Life Moves or anything in your words that will inspire you. Also, put it in an annoyingly visual place, the center of your desktop, the top level of Dropbox, wherever it is so it's not hidden. It's obvious and it has a title that makes you want to open it. These small things can make a difference. Now let's pull in all the great answers and thinking that you've done in your purpose sheets. Not only your answers to the 6 questions on life purpose, but the questions you chose from the second sheet that had particular relevance for you. There is also a tab for your core pitch from the work you did in the priorities module, and a tab to record the definition of process-driven success, those toastable goals you have significant agency over. You crafted those in the potential module. Having this inner work right next to your hustle in the real world is great to be able to center ourselves and keep coming back to. The next tab, I'm calling here the potential-people tab. Some call it network or people who matter. Again, please use your words for your hunt. This is the tab where you list your personal advisory board, other champions, connectors, truth tellers. You thought of these people because they really add value to your professional life and are likely needed now for the hunt. In their working lives, they may draw from a number of different worlds for you: bosses, colleagues in the present and the past, faculty from your field and where you studied. They could be headhunters, mentors, and many more. If they are also leaders who are hiring and targets for your hunt, they could be posted here, but will also appear again in another tab that you'll see in a moment. So from the work you started in the potential module, creating your stakeholder matrix, if you remember, this is now a home for all those existing important people in your life. But it's also now a home for all the new people you're meeting right now and haven't met yet. To add to the list, consider what resources you have. Databases to search for companies, access to alumni directories. How can you find people who already are or could be appreciative of and are very helpful to you? If you went to college for undergrad, master's, or a doctorate, think of those people at your current or prior institution. Often, there are career development offices, there certainly are here at Yale, who are immensely helpful in their own right and also have lists of alumni working in your field. Notice that I'm nudging you here with column headings on this tab, not only to keep a list of good people, but adding why you put them on the list: connector, champion, truth teller, etc. How you know them, what you're grateful to them for, and I've included me here on the third line for you as a working example. Then I suggest creating a heat map of your good people. First, a numerical version of where we would fit them on your quadrants of the influence map, rating them in this case on the Excel on influence and support on a scale of 1 to 10. For a Yale student I know well who wants to graduate in a job in a field where I have lots of connections, I might get high marks in the top right-hand quadrant for them. For one of you who only knows me through Coursera, I might score very low. The key thing is, I don't mind, and neither will all the other stakeholders. This list is just for you, so you have a list of the most important people in your hunt, floating to the top of this list. Other categories I suggest you could create a more comprehensive heat map with are included in the template, but they're all just suggestions to help you think through your network with thought and intention. For instance, I suggest dividing between how they might help you and don't forget how you might help them. Does the person have a lot to teach you, for instance? And equally, do you have an interesting perspective to teach them? Many people I've spoken to underestimate those two column headings I've suggested on the right-hand side. The first one, how much some very senior people can really appreciate. Indeed, they derive meaning and satisfaction from having good, willing mentees, no matter how junior or how senior that mentee is. And second, how can you be a very useful source of information, news, perspective, energy in a field or subfield that they might spend less time in? So, just a few thoughts there to get you going on creating your heat map of good people for your hunt. Before we leave this tab, note the suggested hustle columns that appear in this tab and a next tab. Why don't you note when you last reached out to this person? And the other column calculates then directly how many days ago that was. And the tick box is potentially important too. When you reach out to someone on send and you've done all you can tick it. And if they respond to meet up, you're off. But if a week or two goes by and they haven't responded, it's time to untick that box. The ball is back in your court, and you now haven't done all you can. If you want to talk to them, you have to figure out a new way of getting their attention. Bit more on that later. Now to the tab that you may well have started already if you are actively job searching. Here on the hunt, you might call it Progress Masterlist, the big list, the pipeline, or any other name you love better. The goal here is to capture the hustle of your hunt, both the people and the opportunities. Here are some thoughts on how to build this sheet of opportunities. First, list more than the job vacancies. I like the phrase, there's no traffic jam on the extra mile. Please don't think, oh, they've got a vacancy, so I can put them down. Oh, they don't have a vacancy, so I can't. Instead, think, who are all the organizations, companies, nonprofits, government at all the various levels? What are all the forms of things that might be useful given my answers to the questions about what I'm hunting for? You might have 20, 30, 40 names. Go for it. Don't constrain yourself. The worst thing I hear is the self-selecting, I could never get into X organization, so I'm not going to put them on the list. Why not? At least for now, put them down, and then you can think, network, prioritize your time on due diligence, and hunt afterwards. Second, put the standard stuff in, which you've probably got a little bit of already. Your contact there, how you found them. But then, let's now rate each opportunity on your two triangles. What you really want, A, B, C, D, and what you're excited to bring, E, F, G, H. For what you really want, just base your rating here on what your first impressions are, what you know now. Just don't leave any blank. Rate how each opportunity you think it delivers. Say there's a huge or nothing for you is that A, it has to be based in Edinburgh, my hometown. An Edinburgh HQ would be a 10. And then you decide if the role is likely to be in London. Does that get a 7? the next door city of Glasgow a 6. Even though it's the next door city to Edinburgh, you think London would be a better plan B to Edinburgh. If the job is in the USA, you might give it a 4 for that. Hopefully you get the idea from this example. It doesn't need to be complicated. It's only an internal rating for you based on what you know, based on what you think. For the right-hand half, you can rate each opportunity against what you're excited to bring. What's helpful here is you assessing how interesting or useful you think your skills and attributes and perspectives are to that opportunity, to that organization. Back to my example, if the organization was looking for a specific experience in a particular field and I had experience in an adjacent field, I might consider that they'd rate me quite high, but not the highest. 6, 7? If I knew I have experience including the specifics of what they're looking for, but also subjects and experiences around it, I could rate that as a 10. Once you've rated each of your opportunities by the key 4 and 4 elements, your 2 triangles, you can sort the whole table by the left-hand column, the average score. And whoosh, the key idea here is that when you've done this, and it's quite exciting for the first time, I think, it's like, I'm hoping it's your brain and your gut, your head and your heart are now connected as a prioritized list. If they are connected, your head and heart, the gut feel should be the things I really love are all at the top of the list. And that's how it should be. If you've got the criteria right from your deepest purpose and your ratings right in terms of what you think about them and how they match that opportunity, then you've combined your head and heart into a list through this method. Now, what would it take to hunt from the top of the list with your effort disproportionately tilted to the top? And lastly, I just want to conclude on some columns I haven't mentioned yet. You can see the hustle columns, they're back, prompting you to consider when did you last reach out on this opportunity? And tick or blank, have you done all you can for now? To the extent it's helpful to monitor your progress on a linear step-by-step, I've also adapted a classic sales funnel in the far right-hand columns, from awareness of you to warmth to interest to interview to offer. And final thoughts for tabs on your one-file hunt dashboard that I suggest a couple more to add. The first is the cold tab. The master list may get a little depressing if you find out more about an opportunity and move on, you no longer like them, or maybe worse, you're declined and they move on from you. So why not get them out of your immediate line of sight? Delete them if you've got the feeling that that opportunity with that organization will not happen again, or why not just put them into another tab so you're not looking at them all the time? And second, more importantly, you could have a hot tab, or indeed hot tabs, plural. This is where you could dive deeper on an organization that keeps coming up for you. Say, Patagonia comes up with many of the students that I speak to. They're top of your list. Create a whole tab on Patagonia. Who are the managers in your part of the organization? What does the organization chart look like? Who's on LinkedIn? What have they published and posted so far on your area? Find more facts that will help you in your hunt on that company, because they're at the top of your list. This idea of a hot tab actually may well be another file in another package or a whole folder. The key suggestion here is to get the cold leads out of regular sight and give the hot leads way more space and focus than one line on the master list. The more research you do on an organization at the top of the list, it's good to also monitor your energy levels while you're doing it. Am I getting more inspired and excited as I find out more? Or less so? Why? So now you've got all the key aspects of your hunt on one file. And before we move on, please consider how unique this hunt looks to any one of you doing these exercises and taking this course. I hope for all of you that quote, "There's no traffic jam on the extra mile," feels real now. I want you to find those positions that are unique to you in your hunt. Now let's move on to networking and the approach to less formal chats and formal interviews.